Hello everyone, this is the Insomniac GM, and sorry for the long delay for a video. I've been having some issues with background noises lately. I don't know where it's coming from, and I've been trying to eliminate it. Today I'm recording in a different room, so hopefully I don't have this issue, but I've tried recording this video for about a month now. So I just wanted to share with you guys a story about my riffs after the bomb one shot I ran. Now, keep in mind, it's going to sound like it's very combat heavy, but I'll tell you, there was way more role playing, and yeah. So, the reason why I say it's after the bomb slash riffs is I wanted to show the players what you can do with the system. So I had them play the coalition, but I had them play animals. And the plot was they were coalition soldiers, people who are against like dimensional beings and aliens and magical creatures. Like they want humanity to be the way it was, like kind of our world. So they were transformed into animal hybrids from a wizard, and so the players knew they couldn't come back home, so they went and hunted down this wizard. And so that's where our story begins. Now, I have Jackson Cox, which played a grizzly bear. He was good at hitting things hard, and he was very slow. I had Julian, the rabbit, super fast, great for scouting and all that. We had Zephyr, which was an owl folk, and they had the high intelligence, so all their skills got buffs. And they were like the sniper, so they also like help scout from like above. And then lastly, we had T'Challa, which this may surprise you, was a Black Panther. So, oh, and T'Challa had the most actions every turn, so, or each round. So, T'Challa was able to attack and do more actions than everybody else. And I saved him for last for a reason on that introduction. Now, uh, the four heroes or four characters were chasing down this wizard and managed to chase them all the way down to Dinosaur Swamp. They figured with how dangerous Dinosaur Swamp is, this wizard was probably trying to get away to um, hide from like how dangerous the terrain is. Because the Coalition normally doesn't go into Dinosaur Swamp unless they're like hiding. So the players followed them down there and they went instantly into like scouting mode. We had the rabbit scouting by ground, we had Julian scouting by ground, and we had Zephyr scouting from above. Um, Meanwhile, the rest of the group were trailing like the tracks, and they ended up the Jackson and T'Challa accidentally stepped on some eggs when I believe it was Zephyr found the wizard in the distance. And so they went to go chase after the wizard, and that's when they got ambushed by these velociraptors. But they weren't normal velociraptors, they were alien like velociraptors. They had, instead of normal jaws, their jaws were like mandibles, kind of think like elites from Halo. Um, and they would open up and they'd shoot acid at the players. Well, there weren't. I didn't send them after the players to have like a big, huge battle. It was just kind of like, okay, chase scene or try to get away or hide or whatever. No, these players, God, I love my players. They went into combat mode and worked as a team and took them all down as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Which, God, I love these players. So they took these raptors down, and Zephyr noticed that the wizard was heading towards this like shiny looking cave. Managed to shoot the wizard and do some damage to the wizard, but the wizard was still not dead. It was still getting away. So the players started chasing after into this metal like tunnel, and as they were heading there, a rift, a giant portal opened up, and this huge like Godzilla sized like alien started crawling out, and it was full of limbs. It's picking up trees and tearing them out of the ground and tossing them, picking up dinosaurs and squeezing them to death, trying to snatch up birds. Like, this thing's all limbs, and it's just trying to cause as much destruction as possible. And it comes across the players and is trying to get to them. So the players run to the metal cave, and this creature is trying to force its way through. It's kind of like an ooze. So it's like it's squeezing into this metal cave with them, but not not too quickly. So when they get in there, they notice that there's some writing on the walls and that like printed on. So they realize that this cave is with Zephyr being the only one who's literate, knew that this was actual like writing that was printed on. So it seemed like it was caution signs and all that. There were like symbols for all that, and Zephyr was able to make out some of the language. It was an ancient type of English, and they went through the tunnel, and the whole thing was made out of metal. And I found like some gnomes that were like living in there from mushrooms that were growing in there, and everyone walked away, and Julian with their flamethrower was like, as you all walk away, you just notice that the room behind you becomes brighter. So we all got a laugh out of that. Um, so they went through and they found some Native Americans who were like chained up, captured, and they talked to them and found out there were like some aliens inside this cave, and they were experimenting on people they captured. And they just captured the wizard they were trying to hunt. Well, I talked to the Native Americans more, found out that they had like laser weapons and all that. So the players went and retrieved their weapons from another room to give it to them, disarmed their shackles. So now they were packing like more firepower. And I gotta say, Jackson, every game he's in, like, he is all about tactics and warfare and all that. So he went crazy into planning. So he now had the squad. And they went into the room where the aliens were, but they were like trying to be quiet. They all got their weapons ready, and he gave the signal and had a plan for. They took out these aliens before the aliens even knew they were there. I was like, man. So, bravo to him again. Which, one thing I should mention, it's kind of funny with us is, I should have mentioned this earlier. I let them choose whatever weapon they wanted, like any actual gun, and just converted it to MDC damage. And the player playing Jackson knows his guns. And everyone kept laughing and telling me how screwed I was for letting him pick his gun. Well, beforehand, I told them they're going to roll to see how much ammo they get. So everyone rolled. Jackson rolled and only got one bullet. And I gotta say, he was a good sport, but we got a good laugh out of it. So the whole game, everyone kept taunting him and being like, "Why don't you use your one bullet?" Let me see if I can see what weapon he has. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but so yeah, he so as I was saying, they took out those aliens and they captured the wizard, and as they captured the wizard, they found out there was like an AI in this cave, and found out from the AI that this isn't a cave, but it is a mech. And this alien from outside is like starting to do more damage to this thing. So they talk to the AI, find out that like it's still operational. They just it's has some power cut out. So they start running around trying to repair the power by connecting the lines and whatnot. And they get the mech powered back on and have it run or come out of the ground and stands up tall, face to face with the alien, and the alien is trying to grab onto the mech. The smaller limbs attached to those big limbs are going into the cracks of the armor, starting to split it open and trying to get to the players themselves in there. And so the players inside are trying to fight these off so that Jackson, who's piloting the mech, is fine. So you got the Native Americans, you got the party members all working together trying to protect Jackson. The wizard was staying off to the side, not really doing anything because, like, he wasn't sure, like, if he helps them, like, is he gonna get killed? Like, is he gonna die either way? Can he have them come down with him? So, now Zephyr was like, I can be more useful outside. So they dove bombed inside this mech to the foot because that's where the cave entrance was, and the limbs are coming in closer and closer to Zephyr. If they grab Zephyr, Zephyr's screwed. Like, nobody can come and help them in time, except maybe Julian, but well, I don't know. So they managed to escape in time, and as Jackson was walking, lifting up the foot, Zephyr flies out the hole and manages to get out in time before Jackson puts his foot down. Now, Zephyr starts firing at this monster, and it's not hurting it, but it's distracting it enough for Jackson to hurt it. And this mech's already pretty beat up, so as this fight is going on, like, Jackson's like, I don't think we can do this. Like, we're not doing as much damage to this thing as we're taking damage. So he asked the AI to set like a self-destruct feature on, and when that kicked on, Julian and the Native Americans ran off, and T'Challa was just kind of standing behind. Now, T'Challa, this whole game, I kid you not, did not roll above a 4 the entire game, and he got more actions than everybody else. However, he did end up getting to attack one creature at a time, which had MDC for health, and he was using an SDC attack, which, in case you're wondering what the difference is if you don't know Rifts, more or less he was doing, I think he did like 4 damage, and the thing had like 2,000 health. So he didn't do anything. And the weapons everybody else was using were doing 100 to like 600 damage. So that was the one of the 2 times he succeeded. Now the other time he did succeed was the wizard cast a spell to control his mind. This was the moment to take some of them down with him, and controlled T'Challa to take his gun, put it up to Jackson's head, and pull the trigger. That was the second time he successfully hit. However, it rolled minimum damage. So everyone got to rip on T'Challa again. That was a very poor game for him. It's quite surprising how unlucky it was that whole session. But he managed to break out of the mind control next turn. Jackson managed to power up their gun enough to ram the creature somewhat back in the portal and fire. And he was ready to have this thing explode with him. He was just trying to buy time, but the shock from his gun actually closed the portal around the alien, killing it. So then they went into panic mode because self-destruction was still on and they couldn't turn it off. So we had a moment where Jackson had to disconnect and try to grab the wizard and T'Challa and run out in time. And keep in mind, he's slow, but he's trying to carry them so nobody's getting left behind. And I start using my stacking the dice trick, and he stresses so bad, but he manages to get out in time, and the mech flies up in the air right as he's jumping out, and it explodes in the sky. Well, they start interrogating the wizard, like, what, like, turn us back, blah, blah, blah. Well, they find out from the wizard that he can't turn them back, but he knows somebody who can if they promise they'll let him live. So they agree on it, and that's where the one shot ended. Now, I left it open for us to do another one shot in the future if we ever want to, which it went so well. One of my players went out and bought the book right there and then, and another one asked me to buy them the book, and then for a birthday gift, and then 2 of the players said that it's their favorite game system now. So, and one of them also told me that they're going to run me a Rifts one shot. So now I got that ready to run a second one shot if I choose to. If not, I feel that's a good enough of a place to end it, where we can just say, hey, they went and got it cured, or whatever is your headcanon. But that session went really well. I really hope the audio is a lot better in this. Yeah, sorry for the slow uploads. I'm probably still going to be slow on it. I've also been trying to deal with some mental health care, so self-helping or whatever you want to call it. So I'm glad I got to run this game, and I'll see you guys again next time. Take care.